Max Verstappen is set for public service work this week ahead of the FIA's awards night in Rwandan capital Kigali, with the Dutch star to work with local young drivers in a grassroots development program. Verstappen was sanctioned by the FIA in Singapore for swearing during the Thursday press conference, creating tension between the Red Bull driver and the governing body. The four-time F1 world champion's work will involve an FIA affordable cross car that was built in Rwanda by its automobile club. Cadillac's plans for F1 2026 have continued to take shape, with the GM brand naming Graham Lowdon as its foundation team principal. Lowdon was last in a team role in 2015 when he was sporting director at Mana Marussia in its final season on the grid. America's dreams finally came true last month with news that auto giant General Motors and race operation TWG Global had agreed in principle with Formula One for Cadillac to become an 11th team from 2026. It's expected that Ferrari will initially power the squad, with Cadillac set to switch to its own works program by the end of the decade.
I think having General Motors and Cadillac in Formula One is great for Formula One. I think having an 11th team brings more competition, brings more eyeballs to the sport, gives something to talk about.
FIA President Mohammed Ben Sulayem has reiterated his stance that Formula One's drivers should focus on the racing rather than getting involved in the sport's governance. The FIA has been under fire recently, with a spate of senior staff leaving following alleged disagreements with President Ben Sulayem, including F1 race director Niels Wittich, F2 race director Jeanette Tan, and veteran steward Tim Mayer. Drivers have also been sanctioned for swearing in FIA press conferences, including Red Bull's Max Verstappen and Ferrari's Charles Leclerc. But while questions have been asked, the president would prefer if all parties just did what they do best.
We do our responsibility, and they do their responsibility, because they are great athletes, and they're young, and they are ambassadors. And what do they do best? Race till the last centimeter. And then do your job, we'll do ours.
Ferrari has poured cold water on speculation Lewis Hamilton has lost his natural pace, with team boss Frederic Vasseur stating naysayers should have a look at the 50 laps that he did in Vegas. Hamilton raised eyebrows after he qualified 7th for the Qatar sprint, 5 spots behind Mercedes teammate George Russell, and admitted he was definitely not fast anymore. But while Vasseur stated he wasn't worried at all, other drivers like Haas reserve Pietro Fittipaldi told official podcast F1 Nation that a change next year will do him a world of good.
It's something that I think came at a perfect time and just gives him that extra motivation to new car, completely different driving style than what he's used to, different engineers, different mechanics, and let's see how that goes.
Spain's Carlos Sainz has opened up on his Ferrari exit, with the 30-year-old admitting he immediately understood why he was being replaced, as Charles Leclerc was the center of the project. Ferrari dropped a bombshell on F1 in January, with news Lewis Hamilton was set to join the prancing horse from 2025 on a multi-year deal. But while Sainz told official podcast Beyond the Grid that the news made him angry initially, he knew why Hamilton was taking his seat.
I also understand it was never going to be Charles. Charles has been the project of Ferrari ever since he's been a junior driver. He's been the center of the project for many years. I arrived to Ferrari more as a substitute of Vettel, almost a bit not by chance, but obviously earning my place, but circumstantial rather than Charles that has been there forever.
Sainz enjoyed 2 days with his new Williams team in Abu Dhabi, with a filming day and the post-season test held back-to-back. Mercedes says the range of different circuits and conditions in F1 2024's final 2 triple headers has been beneficial for key lessons that will feed into next year's challenger, the W16. The sport cut a furious pace across the final few months with 6 races in 7 weeks, 4 in the Americas and 2 in the Middle East. But while it was tough on paddock personnel, with everyone keen for a post-season holiday, the extra mileage was useful for preparation.
The whole focus is really on 2025 and beyond. So it's good that you get a range of different circuits, quite different tracks, some with very low speed like Vegas, and a range of conditions as well, sort of hot races, cold races, wet races. That's all very useful looking at next year, because we're now having to find answers to all of those performance problems, because we're determined to have a strong start to 2025.
F1 is set to continue its odyssey in China, with the sport confirmed to race at the Shanghai International Circuit through to 2030. The 5-year extension was announced ahead of the Abu Dhabi season finale and comes following surging interest in the sport within China, with 2024's race seeing 200,000 fans attend. There are just 3 events with contract-ending races next year: Emilia-Romagna, which could drop off or alternate with Barcelona. Belgium and Mexico are also yet to be confirmed. Dutch fans have just 2 more chances to enjoy their home Grand Prix after the event's promoters and Formula One agreed to extend the race into 2026 for a final hurrah at the Zandvoort circuit. The Dutch Grand Prix returned to the calendar from 2021, following a 35-year hiatus, on the back of Max Verstappen's rise in the sport, with the event run solely on private funds. But the organizers decided to go out on a high after all options, including a biennial event, were ruled out. We are a privately owned and operated business, and we must balance the opportunities presented by continuing to host the event against other risks and responsibilities, said Dutch Grand Prix director Robert van Overdijk. Hearts raced earlier this month with news that former F1 Supremo Bernie Ecclestone's stunning and extensive Grand Prix car collection was up for sale via exclusive high-end dealer Tom Hartley Jr. Arguably the finest collection of all time, Ecclestone's 69 cars feature all his Brabhams, 17 Ferraris, including Michael Schumacher's F2002, and the 1958 Van Wall that lifted the inaugural Constructors' title. All of which have been kept in immaculate condition, with many not seen since they were first purchased. Ecclestone, now 94, says that he's keen to move them on to new owners given his advancing years.
Probably because now I'm, maybe in a few years I will be 90-odd years old, and got to start thinking, I don't want to leave people lots of problems.
Former Williams driver Logan Sargeant is set for a sports car switch, with the Floridian to join Hyundai luxury brand Genesis's new LMP2 efforts in the European Le Mans series. Sargeant lost his Williams Formula One drive following the Dutch Grand Prix, with the 23-year-old replaced by reserve pilot Franco Colapinto. But while it was thought he might rejoin Prema for its IndyCar assault, Sargeant will instead follow Williams colleague Jamie Chadwick into the 6-event European Le Mans series, where they will both be part of the Genesis-backed IDEC team. Thanks for watching. To stay up to speed on all things Formula One, make sure you hit the subscribe button.